all around Ryan Howard. So I think one of the keys is they have got to figure out a way, not just for Ryan Howard to get going, but they've got to figure out how to get some open looks down low.
This, by far, is the largest halftime deficit of the season for Kentucky. They were down by 15 to Georgia this season. But with their season on the line right now, winner moves on to the Sweet 16. Season is over for the team that comes up short here today. Kentucky is down 27 at the half. Talented freshman for UConn. You know all about their great freshman, Paige Beckers, but Buell was a difference maker for that UConn team second half of the season. So that game coming up tonight, they get a shot for Howard to start the second half, and that's off the mark. But a second chance here for Kentucky. And there is Massengill with the take.
You got to like the aggressiveness. They came out right off the bat. Kentucky set up a play to try to get an easy look for Ryan Howard, even though the ball did not drop. That's the look that you want. But Caitlin Clark continues to add on the point, 26 points.
Clark with the push. They broke the press easily yet again. And Caitlin Clark is now 9 of 12 from the field. Massengill. Patterson. That won't drop for Patterson. Picked up and a quick outlet back the other way for Clark. Martin. Knocked out of bounds last touch by Kentucky. It will stay with Iowa.
Oh, here you go. You get to another look at the Caitlin Clark drive transition game. Kentucky not getting back, and Caitlin Clark taking advantage of it.
Clark working with Czinano again. Clark, that won't drop, and Czinano gets called for the push.
And no matter what, when Caitlin Clark is almost even more dangerous when she gives the ball up, because either she's going to come and get the ball again, and as soon as you turn your head, she gets those wide open looks, or she's making something else happen.
Well, just to clarify, yes, more dangerous. It's all relative, though, because her danger level is already at a 10 on a scale of 10 when she's got the ball. So then you try to find other ways because there's nothing that she does not do well. Wyatt with the hoop for Kentucky. Her first points. Good take to the basket. It is not just Clark. I mean, of course, she's got 26 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists, but I think the fact that Iowa got everyone involved right from the very start, at least getting a hoop from Warnock and getting a hoop from Martin and Czinano and Marshall, everyone contributed a little something in the early going, and I think that took a little of the pressure off Clark just to let her go do her thing, because this is a pretty good Iowa team with plenty of weapons offensively.
Definitely Iowa came out. They were ready. I mean, attacking the basket. Ryan Howard comes over for the double team. Martin recognizes it, dives, stays right underneath the basket. Nobody else rotates. I mean, Iowa just playing smart basketball right now. Kentucky trying to figure out ways that they can get back in the game.
The assist to Czinano, and then the foul on Czinano. Tatiana Wyatt will step to the free throw line for Kentucky. Czinano goes to the bench with the 2 personal. Sharon Goodman comes back in for Iowa. Hawkeyes, before the NCAA tournament, lost to Maryland in the Big Ten title game, if you can believe it. There's a team that's a little bit more prolific when it comes to offense than Iowa, and that's Maryland. Maryland's the top scoring team in the country. They put 104 on the board in Indianapolis in the title game. The 2 games against Maryland this year, Iowa gave up 111 points and 104 points. I'll give you an idea how good Maryland is, because you've seen the Iowa offense today. Last touch by Iowa will be Kentucky ball.
Well, we talked to Coach Bluter, and she told her team coming into the NCAA tournament, compared to the Big Ten tournament, that this would be a piece of cake, and not in the way of being able to win games, but they literally had to play 4 days straight. So by the time they got to the 4th day, they're playing against Maryland, and Maryland just was too much for them to handle.
Howard off the mark. Yes, if you're going to play 4 games in 4 days, and that 4th and final game is against the Maryland Terrapins, who are on the short list for national championship contenders, that's a pretty tough ask. Day off yesterday, of course, after the first round win on Sunday. Team staying in San Antonio. Lisa Bluter brought her team over to St. Mary's University today to shoot in this building. They played at the Alamo Dome in round 1. Kentucky opted with taping down the ballroom at their hotel, and that's what team managers do, to have walkthroughs and give you an idea of where they want to play. So Iowa had a chance to look at this building and shoot on these rims, and I think they found it to their liking, shooting 61% in the first half.
I remember those ballroom shoot-arounds that we would have, and you you get a couple of towels and you just tape the towel, and that's your ball. Instead of having a ball, you have the towel. So, getting into the weeds a little bit, but those fun times.
Getting into the weeds and back in black and white photos. And
wait a minute now,
things
Eric.
on
Not
film.
that old. Come on now.
Yes. Howard on the drive. Couldn't get it to drop. Shows a little frustration as she has struggled to get shots to drop here today. 1 for 9 from the field, but she will go to the free throw line.
I like the emotion, though.
Howard with 7 points, all in the first half, averaging better than 20 points a game on the board here in the second half. South Carolina, then Syracuse, UConn, and on ESPN2, Virginia Tech will face Baylor, followed by Oklahoma State and Stanford. All games also available on the ESPN app. 4 number 1 seeds playing today. NC State in South Florida in a battle right now. UConn and Syracuse, South Carolina, and Stanford, the other number 1s, as we just touched on. And again, the UConn-Syracuse winner gets the winner of this game between Iowa and Kentucky in the Sweet 16. Dre Edwards passed up the wide open look. Kiki McKinney thought for sure she was going to shoot and cut to the basket. Well, things getting a little sloppy here for Iowa as well. Massengill.
I tell you what, Ryan Howard has gotten her hands on a lot of balls and has created some steals.
And she's trying to be disruptive against Marshall here. Martin, the kick to the corner, the 3 for Marshall. And batted out of bounds. It'll be Kentucky basketball. Well, Kentucky trying to chip away here in the third quarter. They have outscored Iowa 12-6 here in the quarter. So it has not come as easily it did in the first 20 minutes for Lisa Bluter's team against Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky definitely come out with a renewed sense of pride in the way that they're playing. Defense, they knew that they were going to have to step up the intensity. They got to knock down shots on the offensive end as well, but getting to the free throw line, attacking the basket, defensively, they got to do a much better job. And it really starts with Caitlin Clark.
McKinney dropped off to Benton. Edwards knocks down the 3, and Kentucky closes the gap a little bit more. Back to the pressure, and I think a timeout was called by Iowa. Kyra Elsey fired up coming off the bench. She wanted the turnover. Instead, it is a timeout. We'll take it as well. Third quarter in San Antonio. And how about the 12th seed, Belmont, knocking off the 5th seed, Gonzaga. Destiny Wells, the freshman, at 25 points. The freshman making big noise in this tournament. We saw it for Belmont getting their first tournament win, and we've seen it with Caitlin Clark. And out of the timeout, Jasmine Massengill gets a steal, and Kentucky is on an 11-0 run.
Well, defense is going to be the name of the game, and for Kentucky to have an opportunity to even get in the game, they have to play better defense. Iowa literally getting their way in the first half, and that locker room speech must have been tough, but on the comeback.
Iowa gets the three-pointer from Warnock. She's in the double figures for the second straight game with 10. McKinney. Massengill back for Edwards. Can't get that to drop, and it's a rebound for Warnock. And Howard's going to get called for the foul running into Taiwo. And that'll be the first personal foul on Ryan Howard. Kentucky trying to make it interesting in San Antonio. Oh, by the way, Tennessee is the number 3 team in this region. They've won 8 national champions, one with Tamika Catchings playing a vital role. This Riverwalk region started with 4 of the top 10 teams nationally in scoring offense, and entering the tourney, ESPN BPI index gave this region a 42% chance to win the tournament. So odds are, according to BPI, national champions here, but we will see how it plays out after watching those upsets yesterday. But you see the national championships that have come from these teams in this region. Well, Kentucky playing much better here in the third quarter. Tamika, Dre Edwards an opening to the basket, but that's got to drop if Kentucky's going to mount the biggest comeback in school history.
Oh, that's got to drop with their defense.
And you know that will drop. And you know that will drop.
They got to stop Caitlin Clark. Always eyes up, head up. Get that extra burst of energy to the basket, and one, getting the opportunity to finish it at the free throw line.
Yeah, she's got quickness. We have seen that, and she's fearless as well, because she'll keep that speed up right to the basket. Freshman from West Des Moines, Iowa, who started Dowling Catholic. Trying to keep this streak going. The only freshman to lead Division I in scoring was Kelsey Mitchell back in the 2014-2015 season. The star for Ohio State.
I know a little bit about Kelsey Mitchell.
Just a little bit, don't you? There's Ryan Howard trying to heat it up. Remember, Kentucky has not gotten a lot from Ryan Howard. She is leading the team in scoring today with 12 points, but after that field goal, she's 2 for 10 from the field.
And I think that's been the biggest difference in the game. I mean, you look at the star players, Caitlin Clark, who has the ball right now, what she's been able to do, 29 points thus far in the game. But it's the other players that have stepped up right there. You see it, and they just continue to take it. Tony, Taiwo, they are unbelievable in the way that they are working together. Get to the basket. Another opportunity to finish at the free throw line.
Another good performance for the junior from Carmel, Indiana, who had 7 points, 4 boards, a block, and a steal in her 22 minutes 2 days ago against CMU, providing another spark off the bench. Iowa is now 4 for 4 from the free throw line. They have slowed for the moment that Kentucky run. Comfortably ahead by 22. The winner moving on to the Sweet 16.
Iowa switching up their defense. They were doing a little bit of man back in the zone.
Patterson couldn't hit. Benton hit. And now Howard finds Owens. Back to the pressure.
Well, Iowa can take their time. They don't have to rush. They were moving the ball fast up the floor early on.
Good hustle play by Taiwo, who got to the rebound, and then she was fouled by Benton. Kate Martin will come in for Iowa as Warnock will head to the bench. They gave the foul to Patterson. That's her third personal foul. One thing we've noticed about Iowa, watching them these two games, Tamika, as Czinano works inside for 2 more, her first points of the second half. There doesn't seem to be a lot of panic in their team. Not just Caitlin Clark, but any of the players. If they're facing pressure, getting the ball in on a 5 count, or trying to make a play, this seems like a very relaxed and composed group. Has that been the vibe you've gotten from them so far?
Well, I think anytime Caitlin Clark is on the floor, it's definitely been the vibe. And you look at just where they are right now. I mean, they started off the game, and the way that they started, they were in such a flow in the offense. They were getting up and down. Now is the time that you can slow it down a little bit and get the shot attempts that you want. Czinano's basket that she made before, it was set up by the pace and the way that they play.
Beautiful adjustment by Clark, the drive to the basket. She's got 31. She's gone for 30 for the 12th time this season.
I'd really like to see Kentucky. They kind of went on a little bit of a run at that moment, but I'd like to see them continue to attack. Ryan Howard was able to get that miss, but I want to see them attack the basket more.
Final 10 seconds of the quarter as Taiwo brings it up against Patterson. Down to 5. Taiwo again with authority, driving with the left. And that will do it for the third quarter.